GLC is now offering a free audio stream of our 24/7 broadcast that we're calling GLC Radio, an online radio station that broadcasts our round-the-clock audio stream on a variety of platforms. GLC Radio gives you the ability to listen to GLC virtually anywhere, through your home or office computer, or on the go with a mobile device. You can access GLC Radio through our website or by searching for God's Learning Channel through iTunes Internet Radio, TuneInRadio.com, or on Shoutcast.com. Explore various GLC Radio-enabled mobile apps by visiting our website at glc.us.com/listen/GLC Radio. GLC Radio, your free connection to GLC anywhere, anytime.
Well, praise God and welcome to the weekend update. And where are we going, ladies?
Well, we got news and a lot of it. But first, we have the weekend lineup.
Okay.
And Steve Shermatt. Yay.
It was a good program.
Will be airing tonight at 8 p.m., Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m., Sunday at 5 a.m., and early Monday at 1 a.m. Dr. Brad Young. I'm sure that's a good one. Saturday at 1 a.m., Saturday night at 8 p.m., a Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m., and Monday morning at 7 a.m. And Lars Innerson. Now, this is the only one that I got to see this week, and if you missed it, absolutely catch it. Saturday at 5 a.m., Sunday 1 a.m., Sunday night at 8 p.m., Monday afternoon at 2 p.m. That program was recorded in 2009. It was the first time that Lars had ever come to GLC.
Mm-hmm. And it was as if it were recorded last night.
Truly it was, except the information is more pertinent today than it was 5 years ago, which is
I'm sure
incredible.
it was pertinent then, too.
Oh, it was.
Did you know all three of those programs is the first time those three guys were ever here?
No, I did not.
Yeah, they were.
Now, Vina has gone way back into the archives to pull from our vault of programs.
Excellent.
And so we're enjoying them.
Mm-hmm.
There's enough programs back there to run another 30 years.
I doubt it. I don't think we kept them all.
No, I don't think so.
But
there's a
I
bunch of them.
want
at
to
least
tell
for a week or two.
people, if you watched Lars and you were interested in his weekly prayer alert, that's still available now, 5 years later. But I also want to recommend that you go and find his
Weekly Torah.
His weekly Torah portion. I subscribe to that, and I hope that you will. It is just as incredible as last night's program was.
Well, I have some really good news about Lars Innerson. I think we're still running his 30-minute program, aren't we, in repeats, and it's been in repeats for 2 or 3 years. It's really good, but he had suffered some setbacks, and he couldn't record over there. We're in the works with him right now to get some programs lined back up, and hopefully, I don't know that they'll start airing in February, but definitely by March, those will start airing.
Wonderful.
So we're looking forward to that. Yay.
Yes.
There are some things behind the scenes that are going on towards our programming. I'm just not free to tell you anything yet.
Well,
That's just the way it is.
It is.
I'm happy to report in about an hour, the bookstore will have been open for a whole week.
Yay. A lot of people have been in, too.
There have been. Sales have been pretty steady this week. So,
Thank you, Jerry.
thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Becky. Becky's
Yes.
been volunteering every single day, helping
Yes,
in there
bless her
and
heart.
being a real trooper. Okay, you have a really great letter, Dad.
I do. It starts out, Dear Al, Tommy, and Amy, thank you for your faithfulness, for the battles you've fought and continue to face with bravery and determination. When I moved to Lubbock in 2012 to take a job, I had no friends in Lubbock that I knew of, but Yeshua HaMashiach led me to your programming, and I found a friend, well, many friends, through your broadcast. Like Walking with Messiah is a favorite. Thank you for blessing my life and informing me of my walk, dear friends. Adonai makes his face to shine upon you all. That comes from Tom in Lubbock. And thank you, Tom, for such an encouraging letter.
Actually, it comes from Tony in Lubbock.
Did it say Tony? Mm-hmm. I'm used to Tommy.
Oh, but thank you. That was a great, encouraging letter.
Yes, it was.
That's right. We all have a friend all the time in Yeshua,
Yep.
and he's always with us.
You know, I have been so struck lately by the number of partners and viewers who are homebound. They can't get out.
Mm-hmm.
And GLC is all they have.
Mm-hmm.
They all feel so attached to us. And you know what? We feel attached to you too.
That's right.
So we thank you for your faithfulness in watching and hanging tight with us as we face those many battles that Tony referred to.
And what amazes me, so many of them talk about their financial hardship, but they still give to GLC.
That's right.
They realize the importance of the work,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's an honor. Such a responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It
such
is.
we feel so incredibly responsible to you. It's just I can't even convey that to you. Well, I spent a lot of time today pulling news articles together. I don't have much time to look at the news lately, and I tell you what, by the time I got here, I was ready to fight. So we better get right to it. This first article is a combination of the Associated Press, very little, and some Reuters. Syrian rebels and government forces began observing a 10-day truce on Thursday in the last rebel-held area of the central city of Homs, marking another setback for opposition fighters, activists said. Government forces had blockaded Al-Wa'ar for some 20 months, only sporadically allowing in food. Western-backed rebels have been retreating in northern Syria for months, caught between government forces on one side and jihadi militant groups like the Islamic State and the al-Qaeda-linked Nusra Front, once backed by the United States, on the other side.
Russia, a key ally of President Bashar Assad, is meanwhile hoping to bring the government and the opposition together in a January 26th meeting to agree on the basis of a future dialogue. Most opposition groups, including the Western-backed Syrian National Coalition, have said they will not attend the Moscow talks, saying the framework for the discussion is unclear and the meetings have little chance of success.
I'm sorry, they have zero chance of success if you don't go. In related news, the U.S. military is planning to deploy more than 400 troops to help train Syrian rebels to fight the Islamic State, along with hundreds of U.S. support personnel, a Pentagon spokesman told Reuters on Thursday. The U.S. military has not yet identified where it will draw its forces from for training mission, expected to begin in the spring at sites outside of Syria, Colonel Steve Warren said. Turkey, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia have offered to host the training. Warren did not offer additional details on the troop figures, first reported by Defense One website.
The Pentagon has estimated that it can train more than 5,000 recruits in the first year, and that up to 15,000 will be needed to retake areas of eastern Syria controlled by Islamic State. The disclosure of the planned troop developments for the Syria training mission came just days after senior U.S. officials met with Syrian rebels and civil society leaders in Istanbul to discuss the program.
Just a little side note here. Bashar Assad is fighting the Islamic State there in Syria, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me that we're fighting him and them.
I know.
It's like, okay, let's go in and train these guys, and then they turncoat and become part of the Islamic State, because that's what keeps happening.
That's what keeps happening.
It's like, this is like a no-brainer for me. I don't know about you. Hey, Mom, why don't you start off this first article, or the second article there?
This is also from Reuters and the Daily Mail. When a raiding party from the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant attacked a Saudi Arabian border post last week, it was no mere hit on a remote desert outpost. 3 border guards, including the commander of border operations in Saudi Arabia's northern zone, were killed in the suicide bombing and gun attack, which was defined by one analyst as the Islamic State's first attack on the kingdom. All 4 attackers also died. While no group claimed responsibility for the assault, it happened just next to Iraq's Anbar province, where Islamic State militants are fighting Iraqi army forces. The jihadists were launching an assault on the new, highest-profile effort by Saudi Arabia to insulate itself from the chaos engulfing its neighbors. Get this, a 600-mile-long Great Wall, a combined fence and ditch to separate the country from Iraq to the north.
Although the barrier was proposed at the height of the Iraqi war, the first phase of the border security project was inaugurated last September by Saudi Arabia's King Abdullah, soon after Islamic State Sunni insurgency swept across Iraq. The multi-layered barrier, which will eventually stretch across the Saudi-Iraq border from Jordan to Kuwait, includes 78 monitoring towers, 8 command centers, 10 mobile surveillance vehicles, 32 rapid response centers, and 3 rapid intervention squads, reports Janes.com. Citing a promotional video, the Defense Industry magazine reported the 6-mile deep barrier consists of a ditch, 2 fences, and a patrol road connecting the watchtowers and guard rooms. The video included footage of thermal imagers and battlefield radar systems that can detect individuals at up to 12 miles away and vehicles at up to 24 miles away.
A key goal of IS jihadists is the ultimate capture of Saudi Arabia, the birthplace of Islam and home to the 2 holy mosques of Mecca and Medina. Expansion of the Islamic State could turn into an existential struggle for the Saudi regime, which many hardline Islamists see as decadent and corrupt. Saudi forces have joined U.S.-led airstrikes against Islamic State positions in Syria and mobilized conservative Sunni clergy to describe the ideology of the al-Qaeda offshoot as deviant. Islamic State militants view Saudi Arabia's leaks to the West as a betrayal of Islam and have called for lone wolf attacks against Saudi security forces, the Shiite Muslim minority, and foreigners.
3 of the 4 ISIS militants killed in last week's raid were Saudi nationals, who local media described as members of the deviant group, a phrase authorities use to describe the Sunni Muslim group al-Qaeda. 3 more Saudi nationals and 4 Syrians have since been arrested in Saudi Arabia in connection with the attack. In addition to the 600-mile barrier being erected between Saudi Arabia and Iraq, the kingdom has also created a physical barrier along parts of the even longer 1,000-mile border with Yemen to the south. Despite the difficulty of access for Westerners, Saudi Arabia is relatively open to fellow Muslim nations, particularly during the Hajj season when pilgrims from across the world come to Mecca and Medina. Well, it looks like that might be changing.
Very interesting. No one knew about the wall?
Well, I'm sure somebody knew about the wall. I just discovered it when I told you about it. You hadn't heard about it. Dad hadn't heard about it. And then you guys heard about it? Nope, nobody ever heard about
Nobody
it.
on the news.
So I thought that was very interesting. And something I want to point out here. Saudi Arabia realizes how important border security is. Why don't we? But more important than that is, why is it that we have terrorists attacking in Jerusalem? They're called Palestinians. Palestinian terrorists attacking in Jerusalem all the time. But yet Israel is faulted for having a short little wall that they can actually climb over, for having a wall to give them a little bit of protection from the people who live in their own country.
I want to kill them.
and hate them vehemently from the West Bank.
I don't know.
I know when I drive by that wall, you can feel the hatred coming out of there.
That wall is good for one thing. It keeps snipers from shooting at cars on the highway that runs right next
I'm
to
pretty
it.
sure that's why they erected that wall.
I'm sure it is too.
Ay, 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 ay.
But no laws apply to Israel. I mean,
Well, no
Israel
fairness.
is fair
no fairness.
game.
Nope, yep.
Israel is fair game.
Okay, well, this next article comes from The Independent. Authorities in Saudi Arabia have publicly beheaded a woman in Islam's holy city of Mecca, prompting further criticism of the country's human rights record. The woman, a Burmese who resided in Saudi Arabia, was executed by sword on Monday after being dragged through the street and held down by 4 police officers. She was convicted of the sexual abuse and murder of her 7-year-old stepdaughter. A video showed how it took 3 blows to complete the execution, while the woman screamed, "I did not kill, I did not kill." It has now been removed by YouTube as part of its policy on shocking and disgusting content.
According to a human rights activist, there are 2 ways to behead people. One way is to inject the prisoner with painkillers to numb the pain, and the other is without the painkiller, he told Middle East Eye. This woman was beheaded without painkillers. They wanted to make the pain more powerful for her. The Saudi Ministry of the Interior said in a statement that it believed the sentence was warranted due to the severity of the crime.
The beheading is part of an alarming trend. Another beheading took place in Saudi Arabia today, Friday. A citizen tried and sentenced to death for murdering a fellow tribesman. According to an AFP tally, this brings to 10 the number of executions since the start of the year. The kingdom had the 3rd highest number of recorded executions in 2013, behind Iran and Iraq, Amnesty International said in a report. In 2014, the number of executions rose to 87 from 78 in 2013. In Saudi Arabia, a number of crimes, including adultery, rape, murder, armed robbery, and drug trafficking, can carry a capital sentence. Beheading is considered one of the more humane punishments the authorities can mete out. A firing squad and stoning are other methods open to the judges.
In another human rights case, which interestingly is taking place in wake of the Charlie Hebdo killings in Paris, while the debate about Islam and freedom of speech is raging, a Saudi Arabia blogger, Rafi Badwadi, is sentenced to 1,000 lashes and 10 years in prison after being convicted of insulting Islam. He was also ordered to pay a fine of 1 million riyals. That's nearly 267,000 US dollars. Badawi was convicted of cybercrime and insulting Islam after co-founding the now banned website Free Saudi Liberals, a liberal secular website. Badawi's father reportedly went on TV to renounce his son. It's a crime to disobey your father in Saudi Arabia, and therefore part of his punishment is due to parental disobedience.
The 31-year-old Saudi Arabian faces 50 lashings every Friday, 20 weeks in all, until the sentence is complete. Badawi received his first set of lashes last Friday after Friday prayers outside the Al-Jufali Mosque in Jeddah. He was due to receive the second set of lashes today, but the event was postponed on medical grounds until next Friday. One of the blogger's best friends told The Independent, "His wife told me that the lashings have been postponed, but it's only temporary." His wife, Insaf Hadar, has been the victim of anonymous threats. She's claimed political asylum in Montreal, Canada, along with their 3 children, but has been able to speak to her husband while he's in prison. Raif told me he is in a lot of pain after his flogging. His health is poor, she told Amnesty International. I told our children about the news last week so that they would not find out about it from friends at school. It is a huge shock for them. International pressure is crucial. I believe if we keep up the support, it will eventually pay off.
But international pressure hasn't had any effect so far. Canada, Germany, Norway, and the United States have called for an end to the brutal sentence. Sarah Lee Wilson, the Middle East and North Africa Director of Human Rights Watch, said corporal punishment is nothing new in Saudi Arabia, but publicly lashing a peaceful activist merely for expressing his ideas sends an ugly message of intolerance. Saudi Arabia is showing a willingness to inflict vicious and cruel punishments on writers whose subjects it rejects.
And I can tell you that the things that I did see that he wrote were just things like, we have a right to think what we want to think, to believe what we want to believe. Well, that kind of plays into the close of this article. Badawi narrowly avoided the death penalty when a court threw out apostasy charges in 2013. According to Wikipedia, apostasy in Islam is commonly defined as the conscious abandonment of Islam by a Muslim in word or through deed. It includes the act of converting to another religion, such as Christianity, by a person who was born in a Muslim family or who had previously accepted Islam. Apostasy in Islam includes in its scope not only former Muslims who have renounced Islam to join another religion or become an atheist, but Muslims who have questioned or denied any fundamental tenet or creed of Islam, such as Sharia law, or who have mocked Allah, worshipped one or more idols, or knowingly believed in an interpretation of Sharia that is contrary to the consensus of the Islamic community. The definition and appropriate punishment for apostasy in Islam is controversial, and it varies among Islamic scholars. However, in Islamic history, the vast majority of scholars have held that apostasy is a crime punishable with the death penalty.
Philip Luther, Amnesty's Middle East and North Africa director, said of Badawi's sentence, "It is horrifying to think that such a vicious and cruel punishment should be imposed on someone who is guilty of nothing more than daring to create a public forum for discussion and peacefully exercising the right to freedom of expression." The reason world consensus has done no good, they've been very sure that nobody heard about it.
Well, this is very true. You know, there's some really ugly, ugly things that take place in Saudi Arabia, but they're our ally. I'm glad they're our ally, but they need to stop this nonsense. Another article from Reuters. Out of Raleigh, North Carolina, Duke University scrapped plans on Thursday to allow the Muslim call to prayer to emanate from its chapel bell tower, university officials said, amid fierce criticism from conservative Christians and anger from alumni. Don't tell me that your voice doesn't make a difference.
That's right.
Earlier in the week, university officials said the weekly chant by Muslim students would be amplified from Duke Chapel beginning on Friday. The university, which has Methodist roots but is non-sectarian, reversed course after criticism from conservative Christians, most notably North Carolina-based evangelist Franklin Graham, who urged donors and alumni to boycott the university in a Facebook post. He said, as Christianity is being excluded from the public square, and followers of Islam are raping, butchering, and beheading Christians, Jews, and anyone who doesn't submit to their Sharia Islamic law, Duke is promoting this in the name of religious pluralism, wrote Graham, son of well-known pastor Billy Graham, in a post that received thousands of supportive comments.
Muslim students have held Friday services in the building's basement for several years. On Friday, students will, for the first time, say the call to prayer, marking the beginning of their service in an area outside of the chapel, university spokesman Michael Schoenfeld said. In a statement announcing the reversal, he said, Duke remains committed to fostering an inclusive, tolerant, and welcoming campus for all of its students. However, it was clear that what was conceived as an effort to unify was not having the intended effect. The plan to amplify the chant from the tower may be revisited at a later date, he said.
So we got to
Keep the pressure on.
Pay attention and keep up the pressure for sure. Okay, the next article from the AFP. Did you have a comment?
Yep. Many people don't remember when the Muslims came into Duke University and set up a doctorate and really funded the hound dog out of it.
Well, you know, it's
Bought a
money.
chair.
It's money that has made everybody crater. You know?
That's right.
So the next article comes from the AFP and Reuters. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has received much scorn for his appearance last Sunday at the march in Paris, an event that saw world leaders join several million marching in solidarity after Islamic extremists killed 17 people in attacks targeting satirical weekly Charlie Hebdo and a kosher supermarket. But unbelievably, much of the ridicule came from Israeli headlines and columns accusing the prime minister of, quote, pushing to the front of Sunday's march in Paris and unsuccessfully trying to jump to the head of a queue waiting for a bus, with some alleging he was trying to make political hay for the general election due in March.
While some Israeli media even reported that, quote, France asked Netanyahu to stay away from the march, but he ignored the request and attended anyway, sources in Netanyahu's office told Ma'ariv that the protocol sent from the LSE to the Israeli embassy in Paris had stated he was supposed to march in the first row. This, of course, only makes sense to those of us who see the Prime Minister not just as a representative of Israel, but of Jewish people worldwide. Much to their credit, some commentators did jump to Netanyahu's defense. Writing in Haaretz, Tal Niv said the premier doesn't deserve the scorn heaped on him. Contempt for his stressed appearance or his pushiness shouldn't obscure the fact that he succeeded in sending a clear message. Come home, I'll protect you, she said, referring to Netanyahu's appeal to French Jews to move to Israel.
And in related news, a report from Reuters on Thursday revealed that a quarter of Jews in Britain have considered leaving the country in the last 2 years, and well over half feel they have no long-term future in Europe, according to a survey published on Wednesday. Results of the YouGov poll for the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism, CAA, come a week after the attacks in Paris, which led to police stepping up security at synagogues and other Jewish venues across Britain. According to the poll of 2,230 British Jews, 58% felt Jews might have no long-term future in Europe. 45% felt their family was threatened by Islamic extremism, and more than half had witnessed more anti-Semitism in the last 2 years than ever before.
The survey of the wider general public appears to give credence to their beliefs. The poll found that a quarter of Britons believed Jews chase money more than other British people, and 1 in 6 agreed that Jews think they are better than other people, and Jews have too much power in the media. In all, 45% of the 3,411 questioned believed at least one anti-Semitic statement shown to them to be true. In a foreword to its report, Chairman of the CAA, Gideon Falter, stated, while anti-Semitism in Britain is not yet at a level seen in most of Europe, the results of our survey should be a wake-up call. Britain is at a tipping point. Unless anti-Semitism is met with zero tolerance, it will continue to grow, and British Jews may increasingly question their place in their own country.
And I have got to share this really fast with you, the very last article from the AP, pledging to share a big hug with Paris and show American solidarity with the French people after last week's deadly terrorist attack. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry touched down in the French capital on Thursday, where he said he's going to, love up on them. Apparently, he didn't get the message. Well, he told them that he wasn't there to apologize, that we didn't go. He didn't get the message that the White House apologized for that. You have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
Shabbat Shalom.